It's Michelle Jones, and I am so excited to have you with us today because we are meeting with culinary coach Rajitha Bommakanti, and she is going to teach us all about Indian cooking today, and I am just psyched about it. And we also have Amy with us. And before we turn things over to Rajitha, we're going to go ahead and have Amy give us a short intro on the technology and our chat features as well.
Well, I see someone has already found the chat and asking a question that always gets asked. Will we be recording this? Yes, because we will share this in your Full Plate Living membership. You'll have a recording of that you can reflect back on, rewatch anytime that you would like. So a few things. This is technology. It's great when it works perfect, but it is not always. So if you have problems, one of the best things to do is to refresh your connection. If you're still having issues seeing or hearing us, then you can also try a different browser. We have found that the Chrome browser works very well with the service that we use to do these workshops for you. So that is always a good thing. But I see lots of people finding the chat. If you've not found the chat yet, find the chat, say hello, tell us where you're joining us from. What I love is that all three of us are actually joining you from our kitchens today. So it's kind of fun to be able to do a cooking workshop with you to do today. So ask your questions in the chat. We'll also be answering those at the end of the workshop as well. So I'll hand it back over.
Excellent. Thank you, Amy. Also, during today's workshop, we do have 3 different handouts. 2 of them are recipes, and another one is a list of tips. So we will be making those available as we get to them. So I will hop in and out and just let you know when you can go ahead and download. So at this time, I would like to introduce you to Rajitha. So something very fascinating is that Rajitha actually helped to facilitate some of our group programs. So that's how we initially met, but she's a very, very passionate person when it comes to health. Rajitha Bommakanti is a nurse, national board certified health and wellness coach, and a culinary coach, and has been practicing nursing for over 30 years in various medical specialties. Currently, she works as an ER case manager. But during her nursing journey, Rajitha has seen gaps in patient care and the impact that chronic medical conditions had on her patients' quality of life. She wanted to make a difference, so she moved into a health coaching transformation space where she is a health partner in educating, inspiring, and empowering people to make small changes to their lives to improve their health. That sounds a lot like what we do here at Full Plate. She is the founder of Healthy You Lifestyle Center, and we are so pleased to have you with us today.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Amy, for having me today. I am honored to be here to do a live cooking show on Indian food, Full Plate way.
Excellent, excellent. I'm going to let you go ahead and take it away, and I'll hop off just so that you can be the focus.
All right. Thank you for that. And so today we are going to make Matar tofu. I don't know if any one of you guys have heard Matar paneer. It is made with paneer, but instead I'm going to make it with tofu. And here I'm going to try to turn my pan on, and I have all the ingredients right here. And the ingredients, it's downloadable now. You can look at it. Onions, cauliflower, tomatoes, red peppers, ginger garlic, broth, and I have all kinds of spices here, and we will go through this as, sorry, little issue here. Okay. My stove is turning on, and I'm going to pour some broth in here in place of oil or butter. I'm using broth. Broth is or water, either one of those you can use. to this.
Your time, take your time getting that lid if you need to. It's no rush. We understand why you're in the kitchen. But I do love that idea of using broth instead of oil. It's a great tip that a lot of people do use that are really trying to either lower their fat or that have issues with oil. So it's a great tip to use.
I also kind of use water if I don't have broth on hand. Yeah. You know, whatever I have.
Yep.
So now that the broth is heating up, I am adding some cinnamon sticks and corn seeds. This looks just like cumin seeds, but it's a little finer than that. Cloves. So now that is going to slowly get steamed up and heated. And as it is getting heated here, I am going to add onions to this. This is 1 cup of onions. And here goes half a cup of cauliflower. I really did not bother, you know, making sure that it's perfect shape or anything, because at the end, I am going to blend this whole thing, make it into a paste. And now that is going on, and I'm just going to put lid here so that it cooks a little faster. So while that is going, I just want to tell you, in the recipe, I added ginger garlic and I measured it, but I use ginger garlic quite a bit in my food. So I make paste ahead of time and leave it in the fridge. You can leave it in there for a couple weeks once you make the ginger garlic paste. And so some of these things that I use on a regular basis. Also, I do the same thing with ginger and green chilies. In some of the food that I don't use garlic, I add green chilies and ginger. So I don't know if y'all can see, you know, it's cooking pretty good. And to this, I am going to add 2 medium-sized tomatoes. And here goes the red peppers. So as you are looking at all these ingredients that are going in, can you tell me, where do these ingredients go? Are they in 75% plate or 25% plate? Would love to hear that from y'all. Where do these ingredients go? Once I put the lid on, it will just take a few minutes for that to, you know, cook and come down. So where does that go, Michelle?
Excellent. So let's go through the list. I will start with the onions, because that's what we added first. Where do onions go? In the 75 or the 25? So I'm seeing a lot of, actually quite a few 75s. So 75, that's correct. I think everybody got that one. Maybe that one was too easy. What about cauliflower? Where does cauliflower go? 75 or 25? Again, lots of 75s, no confusion there. Yeah, this is good. What about the tomatoes? Where did the tomatoes go? Also 75? Okay, let's make it a little more complicated. What about this ginger garlic or garlic ginger paste? Where does the paste go? Oh, everybody said 75, 125. So yeah, 75 is actually correct. Because even though they are blended, nothing is removed, right? It's just a paste. It's just blended up together. And then what was the last thing? Oh, red peppers. What about red peppers? Where do they go? 75. Awesome. I think everybody gets the 75-25 distinction, and I really appreciate you asking that question. but I'm going to throw in a really tricky one. What about all the spices? Because we've added a few spices in
I'm
there.
getting
Where
ready
do
to
they
add
go?
here. Okay, here
Okay.
is turmeric and black pepper, Kashmiri chili. So we'll save the others for a little bit later. So how about these spices?
Yeah, where do all the spices go? So it looks like we're having a little bit of a discourse over here. Some say 75, some say 25. And that was a trick question. So generally speaking, spices are neutral. They don't really add a ton of calories or anything like that. What they do add is flavor and nutrients in some cases. And so we don't really worry about which side they go on. They're just kind of neutral. Add them to make your food taste amazing. And Trisha asks a question that I'm just going to go ahead and ask you right now before I hop off. What would be a good substitute for Kashmiri chili powder?
Red chili powder, or even if you want to use green chilies in this, because normally I do use green chilies. I didn't want to make it too spicy. That's why because Kashmiri chili powder, I used it because it's a little toned down, but you can use red chili pepper or paprika. That's not as spicy, depending on what your spice level is. And I would say with any of these spices or, chili and all that, adjust according to your taste. Because if you're not used to these flavors, just add a little bit and taste it out, and then add some more according to your taste. And I forgot, initially we did add cinnamon cloves, in the broth before we added onions. So those are neutral too, and Michelle?
Yeah. So quick question about the broth dough. We do have somebody that wants to know if your broth is vegetable broth or what kind of broth is it?
I just got it at a store, organic vegetable broth.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm going to hop off again.
So this will just take about, 10 minutes or so for these vegetables to cook down, for them to soften. And as they soften, that's when I am going to add these cilantro powder, and this is cumin powder. And towards the end goes the garam masala. All these powders, like the garam masala, cumin powder, cilantro powder, I just bring the seeds, dry roast them, and blend it in my spice blender. I try not to buy outside because I don't know what's in them. That will take some time, but once I make it and store it, I can use it for quite some time. And I'm adding a little bit of salt to this, and we can close up the lid and for all the vegetables to cook down a little bit. Once it softens up, this needs to cool down. And once it's cooled down, and I usually blend it into a paste. That's the paste you see in, that's a sauce at the base of the tofu mutter curry that I'm making. But for the sake of time, because it will take some time for this to cook down and cool and for it to be blended, I have already have another batch that I made earlier, and it's cool, and I blend it together. So as you can see, it's nicely cooking. The colors look beautiful. And let me just move this out. And now bring this pan So this is how it's going to look. Once, you know, all the vegetables are cooked down, softened. Once it's cool, I blend it. And here it is, that's the base. And to this, I'm going to add some frozen peas. These are frozen peas. And here is tofu. I put it in the oven and roasted them in the oven. That way I don't need to add oil or anything. I can also do pan fry, but for me, it was easy to just stick it. You know, the less work I have, the better. So I try to see how I can cut short. So here I am going to add peas. Go in. And this already has all the spices. And here is the tofu. So tofu is in place of paneer. And vegetable broth is in place of ghee or butter. In quite a few of Indian dishes, they do use ghee, which is clarified butter. That's what it's used. And you can see it's bubbling and coming together. And we added everything, including the garam masala. They also usually add cream to this. So there's no cream, but still it tastes really good with lots of flavors in them. If you just want to kick it up a notch a little bit, you can add cashews before you blend. You know, you can roast with all the vegetables, add some cashews. That will give you that rich, creamy flavor to this. As that is cooking, I'm going to set this aside. And because our next item is the salad, mung bean salad. So I'll bring that stuff together.
Oh, I bet it smells so good in there. Amy made that comment in the chat, and I just have to agree with her. I bet it smells so good in your kitchen right now.
It's infused with all the flavors. It's cooking. It's right here on the side. And I'm just prepping here for the salad.
Excellent. Thank you. So we do have a couple questions, and I think one of them is going to go a little bit more in depth. So we'll ask that at the end of the workshop, and that is how you make your spices. But the question that I think might be easy enough to ask right now is, do you have a particular tofu that you recommend, or just the type of tofu? Is it soft? Is it hard, extra hard?
For this one, I got extra firm tofu, organic. No specific brand, whatever I find organic one, I just pick it up. And even not soft, firm one also will do. Yeah, it doesn't work. Soft won't, because it's all going to get mushy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now here we have salad that we are going to make. I think you have that downloadable. So for this salad, this is mung beans. This is sprouted. I sprouted these. Let me show you. Here are the dried mung beans. This has very long shelf life. All the beans and lentils, I just buy and put it in my pantry. They have a very long. So I take like a cup of them, mung beans, put it in water, soak it overnight. 6 hours would be good, but I'm not here counting, hours. If I know ahead of time, I soak it overnight, rinse it thoroughly about 3 times, and then I just use like thin muslin cloth or something, drain out all the water, and put the soaked mung beans in it. Wrap it up depending on what the temperature is. Like I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. It's very hot here. So overnight, I have these beautiful, beautiful sprouted mung beans. So I'm adding a couple cups of mung beans into this bowl. And I know I just kind of added the, sorry. I just doubled up on my vegetables. However you want to, and any vegetable you want to, you can add. Here is red onions. And some shredded carrots. It turns out like I have more vegetables than the beans in here. So how about the mung beans? Are they 75% or 25%? Here is bell pepper. And I have some cherry tomatoes. And cucumbers. I needed a bigger bowl. The number of vegetables I have in here, I don't have enough space to mix it all. I am going to switch my bowls here. And here's some cilantro. I'm going to switch this. Okay, let me toss all of this in here. Look at that, beautiful colors. Fiber-filled salad. And to this, I'm going to add lime juice. And turmeric. Red chili powder. Black pepper. And salt. Mix it all up and enjoy the salad. That's all it is. Very simple salad, but very filling and nutritious.
It looks amazing. It's so colorful and I bet it's delicious. So for your question about the mung beans, mostly 75, which is correct. It's kind of a trick question because they were sprouted beans, but they do soak overnight, right? So they are pulling that water in. So this is, yeah, a fabulous different way of enjoying them. I love that. I actually have some in my pantry that have just been sitting there because I didn't know what to do with them. So I know that's what we're going to be making tonight or tomorrow. Yeah, that looks delicious. Thank you for sharing.
About this mung beans?
Yeah, what about the dried mung beans? Are they 75 or 25? 25, 75. Okay. Yes. So they are actually 25% until they're cooked in water. They do need that water for them to become both those 75% fiber foods have both water and fiber in them. So they have to be mixed together, water and fiber. They look delightful and delicious. I have a couple of other questions that have popped up. So I'm going to just ask you real quick. How was the cilantro prepared for the salad?
Cilantro, I just washed it, chopped it up. That's it. And same thing, you know, cilantro is usually used as a garnish. So even in this tofu, we can just garnish it up.
Excellent. And since you are going back to the tofu, did you pre-season the tofu before you roasted it in the
actually,
oven?
this time around, I did not. But I do that pre-seasoning quite a bit. That way I can just use it as a snack.
Excellent. And if you don't mind sharing what seasonings you add when you are pre-seasoning.
Pretty much salt, pepper, lime juice, and chili powder, because I like it. I like mine spicy. So
yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for answering those.
Welcome. And this tofu is done. And I am going to I have prepared a couple other things, but I could not show it to you. That would be the next time we can do that. For time's sake, we got to be mindful. Here you go. So here's my tofu that I just made right from that pan. And there's the salad, mung bean salad. And this is millet pulao. So I used millets and made pulao. Again, there is no butter. There is no ghee, no oil in it. Millets, I washed them thoroughly about 3 times, rinsed it out, soaked it overnight because they need to be soaked so that the fibers open up in there, and then cooked it in Instapot. I just added a few vegetables, some cauliflower, potato, and edamame, and a few green chilies, bay leaf, cinnamon stick, cloves, salts, some lime juice, and there is my pulao. Very simple. And here is my power ball. I call it, but any balls, like in Indian, they call it laddu. It's made with dates, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, almonds, raisins, and cashews. And once I processed them, the mixture was kind of dry, so I sprinkled little soy milk to it and made balls. So that's my dessert. So where does that go? Where does this dessert go into our 25% plate or 75% plate?
I love how you're doing that, how you're just testing us along the way. Ooh, and there's 75 and there's 25, but a lot more 25s than 75s, which would be correct because we did skip water. So there's no liquid in that with all of the nuts. But even though it's a 25% choice, it's an amazing 25% choice to have because of all the nutrients found in all of those dried fruit and nuts and seeds. Thank you for sharing that with us.
There's no white sugar or any sugar or anything. So dates is our sweetener.
Perfect. Love it. Well, That went really quickly. You shared two amazing recipes with us. I'm sure, I know personally, I will probably want some sort of like a recipe for the pilaf as well. So maybe after the workshop, if you want to send it to us, we would love to share that in the newsletter for anybody else who had a question about them. And thank you again. And even the energy balls as well. I think those would be great to share. So thank you for being here with us today. We really appreciate you sharing all of this. It was a pleasure having you with
Michelle.
us.
I just wanted to go over the tip sheet. You know what was in
That's
there.
right.
I just wanted to show, since we have a few minutes of time, if that's okay.
Yes, and I'm actually going to share it right now as the handout. And this is the third one. I'm trying to get it to work. So let's try that again. There it is.
Okay, so this is my tempering Indian spice container. And in that, once you guys look at it, you'll see red chilies. Pretty much in all the initial seasonings, especially on the South Indian. I'm from South India, and they use like oil or ghee, something like that, and add it. Then these are the mustard seeds, if you can see, the black mustard seeds. And this is cumin. And these are different lentils. All of these go in there. Cloves. And that is fenugreek powder. I dry roasted, and made that into powder because it's a little better. And also in that, I said we also use. I always have a hard time saying this out. Asafoetida. So this is that powder. So this is the tempering stuff, the initial one that I talked about. The next thing is tamarind. So tamarind is kind of a fruit. This is how it looks. The dried one, actually, from the tree, it has a hard shell, and they remove the shell, and this is how it is. And what we do is soak this in water for an hour or two, and then bring the juice out. So this is the juice, and I made the juice, and the pulp is all thrown out. Nowadays, it's too much, too busy people, we don't have enough time. So they also sell concentrated tamarind paste. So all you do is take a scoop of it and add it into the dishes, whatever. Most of the lentil soup, things like that, I add like a spoon or so of tamarind paste. And these are just the other additives, like, this is called curry leaves. This came out of my garden. They grow in hot climate, so during winter time we bring that in. Has very good flavoring. Pretty much in lots of the curries it goes in, South Indian ones. And tomatoes, green chilies are from my garden. And regarding turmeric, which is the third tip that goes pretty much into all the Indian curries. This is the turmeric powder, and the turmeric root that you have seen, the fresh one in the stores, I don't have fresh on hand. So that root is dried up, and this is how it looks. And this is made into powder. So powder form is what majority of the Indians use. So yeah, these are the 3 tips, and pretty much in all of them, the standard is, turmeric, chili powder, salt, and black pepper. So this is kind of the basic. Any vegetable, you can just add the tempering to it and add vegetable and add salt, pepper, and turmeric to it, stir fry it. There you go. You have an Indian vegetable. You don't need to add curry powder or anything. If you want to add, you can add those too, but you don't want to overdo on the spices. Just small amount goes a long way. So that's all we have here.
Your little secret tips. That is so wonderful. I know when I first started cooking any Indian dishes, I overdid the curry powder and it was way too much. So I like the idea of starting almost from scratch and doing your own flavorings to get what you really like. That was fantastic. We have actually a question about your curry plant. How did you start it up? Where did you get the seeds, or how did you start that?
I'm trying to think. I don't think these guys have seeds. You usually get a plant. They sell it in Indian stores, and
Okay.
a small plant, and then over time it grows. I usually take the little plantlings and give to others. But yeah, there's no seed for the curry leaves.
Excellent. And do you keep it in a pot, or do you actually plant
It's
it
in a
outside?
pot because I have to bring it in winter. I can't leave it outside. So in winter
Excellent.
it comes
Yes.
in.
Yeah, I guess if you are somewhere tropical or where it's hot all the time, you could outdoors, but otherwise it has to be in a pot. That's great. Well, the other question that we did have that I think was pretty significant, and I'm going to scroll up. Well, actually, let's cover the salt question. We have Sal that said, I restrict some of my salt. Do these recipes need salt to taste wonderful?
No, you can cut down salt and add more lime juice to it, and all these other fresh herbs, even mint, things like that, you can add, and you don't have to have salt in it.
Wonderful. And then you went through and you shared with us your entire spice box, which I think is beautiful. I'm going to ask this question because it was asked earlier, but how do you make your seasoning? Do you actually grind a lot of those spices, or do you go to the store and you get them at the store?
I do actually grind. I bring those seeds, dry roast them in the pan, and then little coffee blender, I grind them and store it away in a tight container.
Wonderful. That was very helpful. And then back to the tofu. How long did you roast it for? And maybe even what temperature? I think there's a lot of interest in how you made your tofu.
I put it at 400, about 20 minutes. It doesn't take very long. And sometimes, I have a toaster oven. If I'm not turning my big oven on, I don't, unless I'm doing few things, I don't turn it on. So in the toaster oven, it takes a little longer because of the energy amount it takes. So it takes a little longer in the toaster oven versus in the conventional oven.
Right. And do you, halfway through, do you kind of toss them, or do you just let it be and it's fine?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just let it be in. Because pretty much after that, I'm throwing it into the saucepan and cooking it.
Yes, so it works. Okay, back to the spices. How long do your spices keep for?
At least like 8 weeks. Yeah, because these are all
8 weeks. Okay.
These are all like dry because I'm not adding any oil or any additives in it, just dry roasted, and and then the powders I'm talking about, and all the other spices too. They stay pretty good because I go to the store and buy big bags of it. All my spices, lentils, beans, and everything, and pantry is filled with it. It's whenever it goes down, that's when I go get it. But it lasts pretty good, like at least 2 months or so.
Yeah, once you roast and make them into a powder. Thank you for sharing that. And just because it is very fascinating for some of us, can you talk to us a little bit about the box itself, the spice box itself? What is it called? Where do you get one?
So the spice box is because I'm from South India, as I said, in the language we use is Telugu, and they call it popu dabba. Popu is that initial seasoning that's the base in every vegetable that they make in South Indian. So the oil goes at the base and the mustard seeds and all of that goes in. So that's what it's called, popu, and the dabba is a box. It's a popu box. So all the stuff, you put it in. I got it from India, and actually the one that I'm using right now is my mother-in-law's. She passed it along because hers is much bigger size and more sturdier. So yeah, that way, once those little containers get emptied, then I keep refilling, and it's right there next to my range. Whenever I'm cooking, I take it out and use, because all of them are standard ones in all the other dishes that you're using. So there's no one way of recipe following. As long as you have that base, you add it in. You can change it up however you want it to.
I love that. You get to be creative. I also love the fact that this is like a family tradition that you get to pass on to your family members. That's really beautiful. I know I personally really valued and enjoyed all the recipes that you shared with us, all of the tips. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Amy. Thank you for all of you guys that have joined today.
Well, thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day.